So lately in the news, all of the articles, all of the realtors, everyone is saying that mortgage interest rates are dropping. I see a new article almost every day saying that we're reaching some type of record low from the past couple of months. But is that true? Are mortgage rates really dropping? And if they are, what should you do about it? But before you get too excited, let me break down exactly what's happening in the real estate and the housing market and why you might be making a huge mistake by waiting. Now, I just put somebody under contract a couple of days ago, and we were able to get them a 6% rate, which is severely low than what we have seen over the last couple of months. I remember that there was a certain point in the last couple of months where rates were over 7. I even had one person get pre-approved at a 7.9% interest rate. So yes, a 6 or where we are today is quite lower than where we have been. But I don't know if you're waiting on a huge drop for you to get back into the housing market. But if you are waiting on, I don't know, less than 3% interest rates, please don't hold your breath. I have clients that have been waiting over the last couple of years for interest rates to actually get that low. And they have just been sitting on the sidelines, missed opportunities, and of course, missed equity. I mean, seeing anything less than 3% is honestly just a fantasy, and it's just not going to happen. Now, if you think that 6% interest rates are high, I get it, because over the last couple of years, like I've said already, we've seen 2.5%, 3%, 4%, and every number that was a lot better than 6%. But back in 1981, mortgage interest rates were 18%. Now, obviously, I don't remember that because I was not even born yet. But for my viewers who are part of, what is that generation? Gen X or baby boomers? I'm sure you remember that time. And I know what you all are going to say in the comments. You're going to say, well, housing prices were significantly lower. And you do have a point. You do have a point, because right now we are at or near all-time highs for the housing market. But I'm just saying 6%, it actually could get worse based on historical data. So you have to ask yourself this question: is it really a bad time to buy, or have we just been spoiled by really, really, really low interest rates? Now, despite rates being where they are today, you have a lot of buyers jumping back into the market. A lot of it has to do with seasonality. Of course, everyone is buying a house in the spring and early months of the summer because people want to move before their kids go back to school. Or on top of that, the weather's really nice and it's just a great time to get out and go shop for a home. But on top of that, home buyers are really starting to become more familiar, or at least not be shocked at today's rates. So they're getting used to it. And because of where rates have been over the last couple of years, home price growth has been slowing. Just like I talked about in my last video, Atlanta saw its first month, well, year over year, that we saw a decline in median home prices in quite some time. Now, if you've been waiting on a 50% drop, like a lot of YouTubers are saying, no, it was not that much. It was only 1%. But yes, 1% down is still a little bit of relief if you've been looking to buy a home, compared to at least what we've seen over the last couple of years. And also, all of those people who were sitting on the sidelines are now starting to creep back into the market, which may be pushing up demand, even though inventory is still very, very high compared to where we have been. So what's the play? Well, I'm getting ready to tell you. But before we do that, Genius Crew, you know what time it is. Drop the track. Welcome back. Welcome back. It is the Market Genius. Been a realtor here in Metro Atlanta for over 8 years, helping people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I'm here to keep real estate real. Here to give you the true information that you need to know before you make your next purchase, sell a home, or do whatever you're going to do when it comes to real estate. So please go ahead, like this video, share, comment below. I try to answer all of the comments within reason. So if you have a question about real estate, drop it below. I'll get to it and give you an expert response on what's going on. Now, obviously, we have a new president. President Trump has been very polarizing in his last, I don't know, what are we, like 60 days into his new presidency? And a lot of people are saying that his antics or policies, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, red or blue, whatever gang you subscribe to, depending on what side you're on, you are either feeling like things are going to go really well, or you're feeling like he's going to crash the housing market. And I guess both sides really have some type of validity Is that the right word for it? I can understand why you would say either one, because the tariffs on building materials, they are going to cause home prices, or at least the cost of building homes, to actually go up, mainly on products like lumber and drywall. But there are many other products that are going to be affected by the tariffs. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the stock market recently. Like Friday was a really good day, but before that, it seems like the stock market had like a 10% sell-off, and I'm just talking about the S&P 500. Tesla has been getting destroyed over the last couple of weeks, but there are a lot of fears and a lot of conversations about a potential recession coming. If we enter a recession, you can only imagine what that's going to do to today's home prices. And on top of home prices being affected, there also could be more job losses. It seems like everyone who works for the federal government is losing their job, and I'm not laughing at that. It's just ironic to see. I never thought we would see a time to where like federal employees were being laid off. Like, these are the people who always had the jobs that had the most security. That's why they work for the government. They wanted job security. But I guess that's changing. I think there's a little bit of a silver lining that comes with the recession and a stock market sell-off, because if stocks do continue to sell off, that means that more investors, like the big ones, we're not talking about you and your Robinhood account, and nothing against it. Get it how you live. But the big investors, they are going to shift their money into bonds. And like I always talk about, and I have people that want to argue about it, and I'm probably going to have somebody arguing with me about this again, right? The mortgage interest rates are tied more closely to U.S. bond yields or treasury yields than the Federal Reserve's interest rates. In fact, when the Federal Reserve cut interest rates last year, mortgage rates actually went up. So for those of you who are like stuck on Jerome Powell saying that he's going to drop mortgage interest rates, I don't know what you're doing. Just let's not have that conversation here. But back to my point. If stocks continue their sell-off, then people are going to shift their money from stocks into bonds. And the more people that buy bonds, it drives down the yield. And so one thing, or one silver lining that you could see if we do enter a recession, if we do continue to have a stock market sell-off, is that mortgage interest rates could drop further. Just like when we had the cough happen back in 2020, everybody got out of the markets only temporarily. But when that did happen, that caused yields to drop all the way down because everybody went into bonds. No one wanted to have risky assets. When that cough was first announced, drove down yields, and then we all know the story after that. So if we do enter a recession, a silver lining could be that we will see lower mortgage interest rates, which will probably be good. Of course, it really won't matter much if you don't have a job. So a recession could mean lower prices, lower mortgage interest rates, but all of that doesn't really matter if you can't get access to a mortgage and they tighten credit standards all around. Are you really prepared for that risk? Next up, you have the sellers, which I believe are making a really big mistake right now by overpricing these properties. There are so many sellers that think that this is still 2022 and you're going to get an exorbitant price for that home. Listen, wake up, smell the coffee. This is not an advertisement for the company that starts with the F. I don't drink coffee. I've never had coffee in my entire life. But my point is that sellers need to wake up and understand that this is not 2022 anymore. The buyers are almost tapped out. Nobody wants to pay $300,000 or $200,000 more than you paid for that home just a couple of years ago, because you wouldn't have done that yourself, and especially at today's rates. So come on, let's get real. And I think you need to pay attention, because if you are selling your home and you overprice it, it's definitely going to sit on the market. And the longer that it sits on the market, you're going to end up cutting the price. And when you cut prices in real estate, it's not like a $10 thing, right? You're talking $10, $15, $20, $50,000 that you're going to be cutting just because you didn't want to price the home right the first time around. I've seen it happen many times. I actually just had a contract that we terminated on our end. I represented the buyer. We terminated the contract, and I know that agent, I just feel like they didn't make the right decision. Only time will tell, but they had already been on the market for 6 months, and they didn't want to give us an extra 2 days for due diligence. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing a price cut in the next couple of weeks and costing the seller more money, but not my client, not my problem. So we've covered a lot, but what do you really do, or what should you do if you are on the sidelines and thinking about, should you actually go and buy real estate? Well, first things first, real estate is the safest investment, if not one of the safest investments. I believe it probably is the safest investment in terms of you put your money in, you get an asset back, and it's going to grow. Like, there's not a time where if you've held real estate long enough that it did not end up producing some type of profit for you. Now, will you see another gain that people saw when they bought their house in 2018 until now? Only time will tell. But real estate is still the best way for you to build generational wealth. And I guess I would consider it being on autopilot. If you pay your bills 20, 30 years later, you will have some type of wealth put together, which unfortunately a lot of people don't have. So that being said, waiting for the perfect time to buy real estate is almost like a moot point. If you have some type of indicator that you are waiting on for it to be a right time for you to buy real estate, by all means, like, you are one of the more sophisticated people. But if you're not that person, you should always buy real estate when you can afford to. Now, of course, you want to choose the right home. You want to choose the right area. You want to get the right value and the best bang for your buck. But sitting on the sidelines is definitely not something that's going to help you out long term. By the time you realize that it's time to buy real estate again, you've probably already missed the best opportunity to do so. And I think that their saying is, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. So you do what you need to do, but waiting is probably not your best option, especially if you want to buy. And of course, if you can afford to do it. So what do you think? Will mortgage rates keep dropping? Will we wake up and see 3% interest rates again? Are they going to stay where they're at? Are home prices going to come down? Are we going to see a recession? Let me know what's on your mind down in the comments below. I'm super interested to hear what the public is thinking. And I say public, like, not like I'm not a part of the public, but I'm a professional. And some of you are realtors, but the average person, you guys do something else besides real estate for a living. So I would love to know what you're thinking when it comes to this 2025 real estate market. And if you got a little bit of time, watch the video that's on your screen, because you're going to learn even more about real estate from a licensed professional who dives deep, or does a deep dive when it comes to real estate. I'm the Market Genius. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.